So many different times in my life, I've played with broken or hurt things, broken foot, broken leg, broken hand, broken arm, broken sternum, broken collarbone. I could keep going if I just thought more about bones. Why, man? Because I loved it. I loved playing the game. I was passionate about it. One of the reasons I even get encouraged at seeing all of you here. Do you know why I get encouraged by that? Is because you could be anywhere doing a lot of different things, but you chose to be here.
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. In a world filled with endless opportunities, why would two men who have built 13 multi-million-dollar businesses altruistically invest 5 hours per day to teach you the best practice business systems and moves that you can use? Because they believe in you. And they have a lot of time on their hands. They started from the bottom, now they're here. It's the Thrive Time Show starring the former U.S. Small Business Administration's Entrepreneur of the Year, Clay Clark, and the entrepreneur trapped inside an optometrist's body, Dr. Robert Zillner. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women. 13 multi-million-dollar businesses.
We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here.
Started from the bottom, and now we're at the top, teaching you the systems to get what we got. Colton Dixon's on the hooks. I break down the books. Z's bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of 5, that's why I'm alive. So if you see my wife and kids, please tell them hi. It's the CNC up on your radio, and now 3, 2, 1, here we go.
We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here.
Brother Clifton, it is so wonderful to have you here today.
Thank you, sir. Always good to be here.
Now, I want to, before we dive into it, I want to just give a little anecdotal story here. But you're a best-selling author. You're a Pulitzer Prize nominated author. You helped introduce the Stairmaster into the marketplace. You've been an owner of a bank. You've served on countless boards. You've addressed Harvard, the Supreme Court. I mean, you have a career, a life that should have been turned into a movie, and then it was turned into a movie. And so you've had all this happen. And I remember as a young man getting a chance to interact with you for the first time, and I had so many questions. And today what we're going to do is we're going to dive into kind of your science of personal achievement and your philosophies and kind of what your thoughts are on certain success principles. And so I want to start off by asking you this here. In your mind, what does it mean for someone to personally achieve or to be successful? Everyone wants to be successful, but what does it mean in your mind to be successful?
You know, when a person becomes successful, they are no longer a bystander. A bystander is someone who stands by the side of the road and watches the world pass by. To be successful is to be a participant in life.
I feel like you have felt for a long time that when you watch TV, I know you don't watch a lot of TV, but when you do watch TV, or when people you know watch TV and tell you about what they saw, you're thinking, I should be a part of that conversation, or my book is good enough to get on that show, or my product is good enough to get in that store. You really believe that you can participate in that conversation.
Most definitely. I mean, you nailed it. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Being a participant, bringing your gifts and bringing your skills. And that, again, requires a mindset to recognize that what you have to bring is of great value. And value is something that it is not something that starts here and it just stays there. It continues to grow and it continues to expand. And once you are no longer a bystander, you're now on that road with others. You're now making a meaningful contribution not only to your life, but to the lives of others as well.
So I've heard it said by one successful entrepreneur. He told me, he says, it's about either watching TV or being the person on TV. I mean, it really is. Does that confidence to be successful, or to join in that conversation, where do you get that from, I guess, then?
You know, I think it comes from a number of different places. I think it comes from the people you associate with. I think it comes from the books that you read. But I think it comes from the dreams that you have inside of you. I think all of these types of things come together to leave you with the idea that you matter. Because if a person does not think he or she matters, then they're not going to be that apt to want to participate and to really get out there and get in the mainstream. They'd rather, hold back because I'm not really one of them. I can't do that. But once you break out of that, then all of a sudden you say, wait a minute. Like you said, I don't just have to watch television. Why not have me being watched?
Now, let me ask you this here. You have all these success books that say, well, what you have to do, step one, you write down all your goals. Do you write down your goals? Do you ever write down where you want to be in a year from now or 2 years from now or any goals? I mean, do you do that to kind of, when you say dream, do you physically write down your goals?
I most certainly do. Let me just show you something for a second. One of the things that's really important, don't be afraid to write this word down. It's okay to say my dreams, because people tend to think that dreams belong to other people. But my dreams, and to be able to write your dreams down and to look at taking it out of your thinking now, putting it on paper, now you're placing yourself in the most vulnerable position, because once you write it down, you now got to think, what am I going to do with it?
I've heard it called dream catching or turning your thoughts into things, but it becomes real once you put a paper and pen to it.
Once you put a paper and a pen to it, all of a sudden, okay, my dreams, what is it? Okay, writer. Clay, you know when I first decided to be a writer?
No.
I was probably not even 18 years old. I was in the military at the last end of the Vietnam War. And all of a sudden I made this decision, I'm going to be a writer. Now, all my buddies around me were saying, well, Clifton, we're in a war. War, guns, death, and you're talking about being a writer? But that was one of my dreams, and I wrote that down. And because I wrote it down, looked at it, Clifton, writer, it became much easier for me to pick up a yellow pad and to start writing.
But you wrote it down. You defined that's what you wanted to do.
Yes.
Now, every successful person I've ever interviewed, they all have a definite purpose or a definite thing they're pursuing at that given time. So I guess the best example I would have is if you go to New York City and you're in New York City, if you want to get anywhere, you have to pretty much catch a cab or go on foot. Right. And when you get in front of the hotel and you put your fingers up there and the cab pulls over, if he asks you, where do you want to go? And you have no idea, you say, well, just far. I want to be successful. You're not going to go anywhere.
No.
So it seems like these people all have that definite chief aim. And I know in your career you've had a lot of different definite chief aims. But what definite chief aim did you have when you were washing dishes and you were working in that first entry-level job in St. Louis in that segregated world? What was your definite chief aim then?
I know this is going to sound crazy, but I wanted a job where I had to wear a necktie.
Really?
Yes.
Boom. Yes. Yes. So you wanted to wear a necktie?
I wanted to wear a necktie. Because you didn't have to wear a necktie picking cotton. A necktie symbolized a whole different way of living, a whole different way of earning your livelihood. I mean, people responded to you differently.
Yeah.
I wanted to wear a necktie every day.
That was your goal?
That was my goal.
That's awesome.
But I realized in order to wear the necktie, it had to be attached to something.
Okay.
So I had to get a job. I had to do the types of things that would lead me into that environment where neckties were required.
Okay, I'm gonna play this game again. You had a license to sell the Stairmaster. You were able to sell the Stairmaster at a commission-only basis.
Right.
What was your definite chief aim when you were trying to sell the Stairmaster? What was your goal there?
I wanted to do something that no one else had done, at least in my world, my peers. And I wasn't afraid. And I think my chief aim was to tackle something and to achieve something that was out of my comfort zone.
Okay. So you were like, Bill, backstory. You had a license to, again, sell the Stairmaster on a commission-only basis. And you spent, I think, 3 years before you sold
Somewhere
one?
from 2 to 3 years, yeah.
2 to 3 years marketing and trying to sell the Stairmaster before anybody bought one. And you just wanted to do something different that was beyond your comfort zone.
Right. I mean, because to me, that's like my comfort zone, what I knew to do, looking backwards, it was to pick cotton.
Yeah.
I had to think about that. But to sell Stairmaster and to be successful, I had to learn more things than I ever thought I would or could, and interact with a group of people that in real life I probably not would have been in that club of people.
So today, what is your definite chief aim?
I would say my definite chief aim today would be to...
It seems like mentoring is a huge part of your life now. You speak,
and you're getting close. You're almost taking it out of my thinking here. But what I think it is today is to help other people understand that they don't have to stay in the cotton fields, however those cotton fields may be defined.
So even though you grew up in the cotton fields and you weren't defined by that, you got out of that track.
Right.
And you want to teach people.
I want to teach other people how to do likewise.
Now, the reason why I'm asking you these specific questions is I know there's somebody watching this right now and you think your dream's crazy. Well, he just said his goal was to wear a necktie. I will say my goal at one point, I remember, was I want to hire my dad. I just want to hire my dad. Well, growing up, when your dad loses his job, it's tough watching that happen. And as a kid, I didn't know all the details. I didn't know what happened. I still don't really know. But all I know is that that has to stop. I'm going to hire my dad. And that was like a big thing for me. And whenever I lost motivation, I would just go back to, I'm going to hire my dad. And then about 6 years ago, I hired my dad. And I was like, all right. Well, the problem is once you achieve a goal, you kind of have a little lull because you say, uh-oh, I'm kind of achieved that goal. And if you're not careful, you can kind of coast. Well, today, I'm in a situation now where because of some being financially blessed in certain things, that is my goal, is to teach entrepreneurs that they can do it and show them how to do it. And but I think it's interesting that whether it's the necktie or it's hiring your dad or it's a goal to do something that's beyond.
But one of the things that I think is key to this is that both of us, in our own way, we're looking toward the betterment of other people. We're not just thinking we're the only person on the planet.
Now, what if I'm an entrepreneur right now, or I want to be an entrepreneur? I want to be. What if I'm watching this and I'm like, I just want to do what you do, but I don't know what I don't. No, there's so many people I meet all the time, and you meet them too. They say, I don't know what my definite chief aim is. I just don't know what I want to do. How do you start that?
Well, first of all, especially if you meet someone that is gainfully employed already.
Yeah.
They got a job. They get a check every month or every 2 weeks or whatever, and to some degree they're happy. But there's something inside of them.
Yeah.
That's burning inside of them. There's a skill. There's knowledge about something. They don't quite know what it is, but they know that it is beyond the world where they currently are. They want to do this other thing. And so when they see you or me, they said, if I could only do that.
Yeah.
But here's what I try to help people understand. We have to give ourselves the opportunity to discover what that is.
You have to stay in perpetual motion so you run into those opportunities, or you can't just be stuck.
No, you can't be stuck. You can't leave your job looking for the dream, but you can be on your job preparing for that dream.
Yep.
Have your whole persona really defined in such a way that every day you wake up, you're anticipating piece of the puzzle. And you start putting, let me show you again. Let me see about this. Maybe I can do this. Okay, let's say this is part of the puzzle.
Yeah.
That's the first thing you're thinking about. You don't quite know what that is. But as you go through your life, all of a sudden, something else happened. Now you got two pieces. And then it may be 6 months later, something else might happen, and you got a third piece.
It all fits together.
And it all fits together. And it's not, some things may happen all at once, but for most people that I have run into, life has always been and remains a journey of discovery.
And it can't be a journey if you're not moving.
You got to be moving.
So you have to stay in perpetual motion. Now, let's assume that I do have a definite chief aim. Let's just work off the assumption I figured that out. It's important that we set a deadline and make a plan to get there. So once you find your chief aim, you say, okay, I want to become an author. And then let's say you write your manuscript. And so the manuscript is now written. You have to kind of set a time frame for this. You say, hey, I want to contact so many agents, or get in this store by this, get my book in bookstores by this date, or I want to get the Stairmaster in the store by this date, or I want to raise this much capital by this much time, or there's something. Can you maybe comment on how you set deadlines for your goals? Because I know you can't really control it exactly, but how do you do that?
But I think it's the art of setting deadlines that's important.
Okay.
Because what you're doing, you're talking to yourself. You're telling yourself, wait a minute, self, we have to accomplish this.
Okay.
And so you're telling yourself, this is not like water floating all over the table now. No. We got something to do, and we're going to do it. And I'm telling myself, okay, self, hear me. Okay, we started on January the 1st. By April 15th, I want something to happen.
Yeah.
You got to talk to yourself. You got to let yourself understand that you're going to hold your own self accountable for the dreaming that you do.
It sounds like you're learning how to work with a sense of urgency.
You can call it urgency, accountable for your dreams, committed to making it happen.
Now, here we go. This is where it gets real. I know that specifically in college, I went to college with Ryan Tedder, who you know from
Right.
church, and now he's obviously a best-selling artist. One of the things that he would do is he would play the guitar for a set amount of time, and he would sing, and he had to, get this much practice in every day. Like there was a set amount. And he was kind of intense about it. Like if you were messing with him and you wouldn't get out of his room, or he was focused. I mean, he had that. I know when you walk with a sense of purpose. You're going to this meeting, you're going to that meeting. But no one's telling you, if you're an entrepreneur, no one's telling you to do that, but you're telling yourself that, right?
Okay, that goes back to the growth mindset. See, the growth mindset tells you what you have to do, and it sort of pushes you in that direction.
Yeah.
It doesn't let you become hamstrung, if you will, by the reality of what's around you, because you can easily build a box around you and put an easy chair in that box.
Now, the next key, though, to kind of the bridge from point A to point B, or on the puzzle analogy, from puzzle piece 1 to puzzle piece 2, sort of that kind of bridge in the gap there, is you need to establish solid relationships.
Definitely. Absolutely.
And I know this is what I did, and I'm sure you never did this, but I remember in college, I had that look on my face like this, like I was angry about something. And people don't want to talk to someone like that when they have that scowl. I looked angry. And then I would meet people, and I had like usury relationships. So I'd meet somebody who'd do something nice for me, and I would usually say thank you, but that was it. So somebody would offer me an internship, or somebody would extend, a handshake to me, or just say, hey, my name's such and such, pleasure to meet you. And then I didn't know how to develop and nurture those relationships. I just didn't know how to do it. How do you go about developing if you've never done it before, how do you establish solid relationships?
Here's the key word you said. I listened very closely. The key word is, how do you nurture those relationships? And built into the concept of nurturing is caring, is being willing to put the time in, is being willing to value another person as you value yourself, getting to know that person, and being responsive to that person as you would want them to be responsive to you. It's creating the dynamics of relationships, not just talking about it, but taking it out of the conceptual mode and making it real. It's like you say, realizing that I have the onus on me to help make you have a great life. Let's shake hands. I want you to have a great day. I want you to have a great day. Hopefully you want me to have a great day. Now, if you got two people wanting each other to have a great day, you've already set up a dynamic possibility of good relationship and good outcomes.
There was a lady who met you, and Deidre wouldn't mind me sharing this, and I'm going to because she's a Thrive mentor. But she told me when she met you, she just felt the sincerity, like you wanted her to be successful. Like there was just this sincerity. Now, I know that we all come from somewhere, and there's a certain point where you had to learn these skills, but you do that. When you tell me, have a good day, it never feels like, have a good day, or it doesn't feel like you're just saying it to say it. You know, we're in a culture where you say, what's up? And you don't really care what the other person says, or you just say, see you later.
You know, today I was on the phone with someone in New York, and it was just a very terse, brief conversation. And I'm a Southerner. I don't really know how to be terse and brief. And so as the phone was getting ready to click off, I mean, I could hear her voice saying, I'm through. She didn't say that, but the tone was saying, I'm through.
Right.
And I said, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. And it's going to be the weekend pretty soon. I really want you to have a great weekend. And she came back bumbling, and she said, thank you. I look forward to that. She wasn't expecting that. Mm-hmm. And in this process of honestly wanting people to have a good day or a good weekend, that is to really show the best of yourself, which allow other people to maybe find the best of themselves as well.
Napoleon Hill, the late great success author, defines this as the mastermind, or he defines it as building a sustainable, mutually beneficial relationships, where it's sustainable, where you can keep that relationship for 20 years.
And sustainable, just like nurturing, they go together, because when you to sustain something, you got plans, you know what you have to do. You phone call, you tweet, you text, you do whatever, you write letters, you visit, but it's not something that's just going to happen and no one does anything.
Some of the moves I've seen you do over the years, and I know you don't consider them to be moves, but I consider them to be moves because I'm kind of a student of you. You do handwritten notes.
Yep.
Nobody does handwritten notes, but you do. I've noticed a lot of successful people do handwritten notes, but the general population doesn't do handwritten notes.
Well, my son, Marshall. Marshall's in L.A., and obviously trying to make his way in the world of film and television, and he's meeting a lot of people, and his first inclination is to text them a thank you note or email them a thank you note. And I said, Marshall, they invented something called paper and an envelope and a stamp. I said, right now, the world is overrun with texts and tweets and emails.
Yeah.
I said, that's the norm now. That's the norm. I said, a letter has become the abnormal. It's like, someone literally thought enough of me to put their phone down and actually turn a paper around, get a pen in hand, and actually think about the word they're going to say. That says a lot more than you think.
I've noticed this year, in the past 5 or 6 months, I've probably received a dozen handwritten thank yous, and they've all come from mentors, Thrive mentors. And these are people of all different ages, but it's a success principle. They understand being memorable. They understand showing sincere appreciation. I've also received a cookiegram in the mail. One of the Thrive mentors sent a cookiegram. I received, it's just that the whole idea is you're trying to over-deliver and exceed that other person's expectations, right?
And, that's a good part of what I call the mortar that holds together the bricks of community, the building blocks of community. They're held together by our actions. And if those actions are honest and sincere and continuous, then the house stands.
Now, our next principle is condition your mind to be positive each day. Now, condition. So, example, I remember today like it was today, because it was. Today, I got up and I was going, well, it's 2 a.m. I don't want to be up. What I'm going to do is have a big presentation today. I'm going to go ahead and check and double check. And again, a technology conundrum. And this is the 2 a.m. You know what I'm talking about. You have a plane to catch or something. 2 a.m. conundrum. And I'm saying, well, taking a shower, going to work. And I just remember driving in my car, and I have a certain music I listen to. I'm a huge positive music listen. I listen to positive music. I try to listen to self-help, while I'm driving in the car, or I have kind of a whole system I go through to keep myself positive every day, because I was not feeling positive at 2 a.m. when I discovered that some serious technological breaches were occurring. What do you do to stay positive every day? Because you deal with adversity, brother. I know you do.
a lot. And this was a good day. I mean, this was a great day for me, but it was also a day that could have had a lot of challenges for me and people I cared about. So when I got up this morning, I got up literally around 3:30 this morning.
You should have called me. Okay.
And I went in the den, and I sat in the den, and I literally started reflecting on how thankful I was for the life that I had, for my family, and how realizing that no matter what the problem that I was dealing with, that they paled in the face of the goodness that surrounded me. And sometimes you have to make yourself move into that mode.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how big the goodness is or how small it is. I tell people, be thankful for the smallest thing and watch it grow.
So you start with a point of thankfulness, and I would also say you're very careful, and I think this is so big. There was a young man that we mentored a few years ago, and he was an employee, and he worked with me in a different company there. And I just remember when I flew out to go visit him, and you know, I was always so excited to see his development. And I hop in his car, and the environment that he created in his car was so negative in every way. His home environment was negative in every way. The shows he was watching were so negative in every way. He didn't realize, but he was kind of polluting himself with a negativity bias.
Right.
Do you do some things to intentionally weed out, you know, like a garden, to weed out the negativity, to stay positive every day?
I clean my car out.
Okay.
I mean, I don't like trash.
Yeah.
Because if I get in the car and it's trashy, and it's that way sometimes. But it also gives me the opportunity, because as I take these things out of the side pockets and I take these things out of the glove compartment that don't belong there, all of a sudden it seems like the car gets bigger, and I'm not crowded in, because all of this negativity, it has to have a seat. And it wants your seat if you let it. So it crowds in, and when it crowds in, guess what it crowds out? The possibilities.
Do you ever have to tell people? Have you ever had to tell someone in your life, in some way or another, that you say, hey, you know, you're being negative, and I need you to stop that, or I can't really. I mean, have you ever had to like weed out a relationship? Maybe somebody watching this has a relationship that's negative, and you know, have you ever had to deal with that?
I've had to deal with it, but how I dealt with it, I didn't really confront it on the day that it happened. Because usually when a person is negative on some level, there's something that's pushing that. And so I waited for a couple of days later and said, you know, everything was fine. I said, remember the other day when we were together? I said, I know you were telling the truth, but you had bought into that reality of nothing good was going to ever happen to you. I said, you were telling your very internal soul that you had lost it. I said, let somebody else tell your soul. Don't you tell your soul that.
Yeah.
And he laughed. And then that helped him at that moment to understand, talk to yourself, but why not say good things to yourself?
Now, this next principle is resolve in advance that you will persist until you succeed, that you will never give up. Now again, that you will persist until you succeed. Not if you succeed, but until you succeed. Talk to me about how you've done that throughout your career.
Well, I'll go back to Glen Allen. I'll go back to the cotton fields, because that's where I first determined that I wanted to be successful. And at some point, going from there to St. Louis, from the dish room to the bank, then to the military. And in the military, as a young man, that's when you have the opportunity to do everything that your parents told you not to do. And you got about 25 or 30 guys. Let's do it. Okay, but I've already gravitated toward this idea that I want to be successful. So which means wherever I am, I'm not going to be in the military but for 4 years. So a person, if you're going to be there 4 years, Clifton, just have a great time. No. If I'm going to be there for 4 years, my philosophy is, first and foremost, always focus on winning where you are.
Win where you are.
Win where you are.
That leads us into our next principle. We're about, you know, take action on your plan. Do something every day to move towards your goal. Now, here's the thing. I've discovered this in our culture, any culture really, but on the planet Earth, it seems like there's black and white. Either you're getting closer to your goal or you're getting further away from your goal. But most of us would like to say, well, I don't know, I'm not really all in yet. I'm kind of beige. I'm sort of gray area. I'm sort of non-committal. I'm not, moving towards my goal. I'm not moving away from my goal. I'm just maintaining. Take an action on your plan. I see you do it all the time. But how do you do this? How do you take action on your plan and move towards your plan every day?
Well, first of all, I make sure that the plan I have is a plan I want.
Okay.
That's the first thing. Secondly, I look at what will it take from me and of me and from others in order to actualize that plan. And once I began to get these types of things in place, then I began to ask other questions. Okay, how many days a week will I have to devote to this? How much time will I have to put in to do this? And so once I get that set up, I know, okay, so you got Monday through Friday, you got Monday through Sunday. And I have certain things that happen Monday through Friday. And of course, I have a wife and a family. So I have to really reduce Saturday and Sunday to other types of things. But I really try to write, again, that word write. I really try to write things down. And sometimes I put like little notes, okay, a timer, do this by Thursday. Make sure this is done by Thursday.
I struggle with the idea that if you take a glass of water and it's full and you put a rock in it or you try to add more water to it, it's going to overflow. And I really struggle with the idea that you have to take something out of your life to put something in. So what I do, and I always have to hold myself accountable to it, is I'll have a young man that'll ask me to mentor him and I'll say, absolutely. Did it today, in fact. So I'm spending time with somebody on the phone trying to help them, but I have other things I have to do.
Right.
And so I think we all have to set those, because I realize that helping this person today, although it helped them personally, the best way I could help them and other people would be to do something else. And so how do you, as an entrepreneur, how do you go about starting to learn this concept of moving towards or further away from your goal? Is there any sort of, is it just the daily diligence of writing down your plan? Is that what you do? Just a daily planning?
I think everybody's personality will sort of guide them. But what guides that personality forward, the stuff that you're made of.
Yeah.
Because whether we like it or not, there's a DNA component that brings stuff from grandparents you've never met. And from aunts and uncles you will never see. That's all part of you. So you have to really have some sense of what's in you and bring all of that to bear. So my commitment to getting things done might look different than yours.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? But I'm coming from a place that I'm not going to stop. I'm going to be persistent. But how I go about being persistent might be shaped by the world that shaped me.
JT, do you know what time it is?
4:10.
It's Tebow time in Tulsa, Jerusalem, baby. Tim Tebow is coming to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Whoa. During the month of Christmas, December 5th and 6th, 2024, Tim Tebow is coming to Tulsa, Oklahoma in the 2-day interactive Thrive Time Show Business Growth Workshop. Yes, folks, put it in your calendar. This December, the month of Christmas, December 5th and 6th, Tim Tebow is coming to Tulsa, Oklahoma in the Thrive Time Show 2-day interactive business growth workshop. Whoa. We've been doing business conferences here since 2005. I've been hosting business conferences since 2005. What year were you born?
1995.
Dude, I've been hosting business conferences since you were 10 years old. And a lot of people, have followed Tim Tebow's football career on the field and off the field. And off the field, the guy's been just as successful as he has been on the field. Now, the big question is, JT, how does he do it?
Well, they're going to have to come and find out because I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying, Tim Tebow's going to teach us how he organizes his day, how he organizes his life, how he's proactive with his faith, his family, his finances. He's going to walk us through his mindset that he brings into the gym, into business. It is going to be a blasty blast in Tulsa, Jerusalem. Folks, I'm telling you, if you want to learn branding, you want to learn marketing, you want to learn search engine optimization, you want to learn social media marketing, that's what we teach at the Thrive Time Show 2-day interactive workshop. If you want to learn a accounting. You want to learn sales systems. You want to learn how to build a linear workflow. You want to learn how to franchise your business. That is what we teach at the 2-day interactive Thrive Time Show Business Workshop. Over the years, we've had the opportunity to feature Michael Levine, the PR consultant of choice for Nike, for Prince, for Michael Jackson. We've had the top PR consultant in the history of the planet has spoken at the Thrive Time Show workshops. We've had Jill Donovan, the founder of RusticCuff.com, a company that creates apparel worn by celebrities all throughout the world. Jill Donovan, the founder of RusticCuff.com, has spoken at the 2-day interactive Thrive Time Show Business Workshops. We have had the man who's responsible for turning around Harley Davidson, a man by the name of Ken Schmidt. He has spoken at the Thrive Time Show 2-day interactive business workshops. Folks, I'm telling you, these events are going to teach you what you need to know to start and grow a successful business. And the way we price the events, the way we do these events, is you can pay $250 for a ticket or whatever price that you can afford. What? Yes, we've designed these events to be affordable for you, and we want to see you live and in person at the 2-day interactive December 5th and 6th Thrive Time Show Business Workshop. Everything that you need to succeed will be taught at the 2-day interactive Thrive Time Show Business Workshop, December 5th and 6th in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And the way we do these events is we teach for 30 minutes, and then we open it up for a question and answer session so that wonderful people like you can have your questions answered. Yes, we teach for 30 minutes, and then we open it up for a 15-minute question and answer session. It's interactive. It's 2 days. It's in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We've been doing these events since 2005, and I'm telling you, folks, it's going to blow your mind. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Thrive Time Show 2-day interactive business workshop is America's highest rated and most reviewed business workshop. See the thousands of video testimonials from real people just like you who've been able to build multi-million-dollar companies. Watch those testimonials today at thrivetimeshow.com. Simply by clicking on the testimonials button right there at thrivetimeshow.com, you're going to see thousands of people just like you who've been able to go from just surviving to thriving. Whoa. Each and every day, we're going to add more and more speakers to this all-star lineup, but I encourage everybody out there today, get those tickets today. Go to thrivetimeshow.com. Again, that's thrivetimeshow.com. And some people might be saying, well, how do I do it? What do I do? How does it work? You just go to thrivetimeshow.com. Let's go there now. We're feeling the flow. We're going to thrivetimeshow.com. Again, you just go to thrivetimeshow.com. You click on the business conferences button, and you click on the request tickets button right there. The way I do our conferences is we tell people it's $250 to get a ticket.
Yep.
Or whatever price that you can afford. And the reason why I do that is I grew up without money. JT, you're in the process of building a super successful company. Did you start out with $1 million in the bank account?
No, I did not. Nope, did not get any loans, nothing like that. Did not get an inheritance from parents or anything like that. I had to work for it, and I'm super grateful. I came to a business conference. That's actually how I met you, met Peter Taunton. I met all these people.
So if you're out there today and you want to come to our workshop, again, you just got to go to thrivetimeshow.com. You might say, well, who's speaking? We already covered that. You might say, where's it going to be? It's going to be in Tulsa, Jerusalem, Oklahoma. And so it says Tulsa, Jerusalem. I'm really trying to rebrand Tulsa as Tulsa, Jerusalem, sort of like the Jerusalem of America. But if you type in Thrive Time Show and Jinx, you can get a sneak peek or a look at our office facility. This is what it looks like. This is where you're headed. It's going to be a blasty blast. You can look inside, see the facility. We're going to have hundreds of entrepreneurs here. It is going to be packed. Now, for this particular event, folks, the seating is always limited because my facility isn't a limitless convention center. You're coming to my actual home office, and so it's going to be packed. Who? You're going to come. Who? You? I'm talking to you. You can just get your tickets right now at thrivetimeshow.com. And again, you can name your price. We tell people it's $250 or whatever price you can afford. And we do have some select VIP tickets, which gives you an access to meet some of the speakers and those sorts of things. And those tickets are $500. It's a 2-day interactive business workshop, over 20 hours of business training. We're going to give you a copy of my newest book, The Millionaire's Guide to Becoming Sustainably Rich. You're going to leave with a workbook. You're going to leave with everything you need to know to start and grow a super successful company. It's practical, it's actionable, and it's Tebow time right here in Tulsa, Jerusalem. Get those tickets today at thrivetimeshow.com. Again, that's thrivetimeshow.com.
Hello, I'm Michael Levine, and I'm talking to you right now from the center of Hollywood, California, where I have represented over the last 35 years 58 Academy Award winners, 34 Grammy Award winners, 43 New York Times bestsellers. I've represented a lot of major stars, and I've worked with a lot of major companies, and I think I've learned a few things about what makes them work and what makes them not work. Now, why would a man living in Hollywood, California, in the beautiful sunny weather of LA, come to Tulsa? Because last year I did it, and it was damn exciting. Clay Clark has put together an exceptional presentation, really life-changing, and I'm looking forward to seeing you then. I'm Michael Levine. I'll see you in Tulsa.
Thrive Time Show 2-day interactive business workshops are the world's highest rated and most reviewed business workshops because we teach you what you need to know to grow.
You can learn the proven 13-point business systems that Dr. Zellner and I have used over and over to start and grow successful companies. I mean, we get into the specific steps on what you need to do to optimize your website. We're going to teach you how to fix your conversion rate. We're going to teach you how to do a social media marketing campaign that works. How do you raise capital? How do you get a small business loan? We teach you everything you need to know here during a 2-day, 15-hour workshop. It's all here for you. You work every day in your business, but for 2 days you can escape and work on your business and build these proven systems so now you can have a successful company that will produce both the time freedom and the financial freedom that you deserve. You're going to leave energized, motivated, but you're also going to leave empowered. The reason why I've built these workshops is because as an entrepreneur, I always wish that I had this. And because there wasn't anything like this, I would go to these motivational seminars, no money down, real estate, Ponzi scheme, get motivated seminars, and they would never teach me anything. It was like you went there and you paid for the big chocolate Easter bunny, but inside of it, it was a hollow nothingness. And I wanted the knowledge, and they're like, oh, but we'll teach you the knowledge after our next workshop. And the great thing is we have nothing to upsell. At every workshop, we teach you what you need to know. There's no one in the back of the room trying to sell you some next big get-rich-quick, walk-on-hot coals product. It's literally, we teach you the brass tacks, the specific stuff that you need to know to learn how to start and grow a business. And I encourage you to not believe what I'm saying, and I want you to Google the Z66 auto auction. I want you to Google elephant in the room. Look at Robert Zellner and Associates. Look them up and say, are they successful because they're geniuses, or are they successful because they have a proven system? When you do that research, you will discover that the same systems that we use in our own business can be used in your business. Come to Tulsa, book a ticket, and I guarantee you it's going to be the best business workshop ever, and we'll even give you your money back if you don't love it. We've built this facility for you, and we're excited to see you.
And now you may be thinking, what does it actually cost to attend an in-person 2-day interactive Thrive Time Show business workshop? Well, good news. The tickets are $250 or whatever price that you can afford. What? Yes, they're $250 or whatever price you can afford. I grew up without money, and I know what it's like to live without money. So if you're out there today and you want to attend our in-person 2-day interactive business workshop, all you got to do is go to thrivetimeshow.com to request those tickets. And if you can't afford $250, we have scholarship pricing available to make it affordable for you.
I learned at the Academy in Kings Point in New York. Acta non verba. Watch what a person does, not what they say.
Whoa. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Robert Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad Radio Show. Today I'm broadcasting from Phoenix, Arizona, not Scottsdale, Arizona. They're close, but they're completely different worlds. And we have a special guest today. Definition of intelligence is if you agree with me, you're intelligent. And so this gentleman is very intelligent. I've done this show before also, but very seldom do you find somebody who lines up on all counts. And it's a Mr. Clay Clark. He's a friend of a good friend, Eric Trump. But we're also talking about money, bricks, and how screwed up the world can get in a few and a half hour. So Clay Clark is a very intelligent man, and there's so many ways we could take this thing. But I thought, since you and Eric are close, Trump, what were you saying about what Trump can't, what Donald, who's my age, and I can say or cannot say?
First of all, I have to honor you, sir. I want to show you what I did to one of your books here. There's a guy by the name of Jeremy Thorne, who was my boss at the time. I was 19 years old, working at Faith Highway. I had a job at Applebee's, Target, and DirecTV. And he said, have you read this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad? And I said, no.
And my father, may he rest in peace, he didn't know these financial principles. So I started reading all of your books and really devouring your books. And I went from being an employee to self-employed, to the business owner, to the investor. And I owe a lot of that to you. And I just wanted to take a moment to tell you, thank you so much for allowing me to achieve success. And then I'll tell you all about Eric Trump. But I just want to tell you, thank you, sir, for changing my life.
But not only that, Clay, thank you, but you become an influencer. More than anything else, you've evolved into an influencer where your word has more and more power. So that's why I congratulate you on becoming. Because as you know, there's a lot of fake influencers out there too, or bad influencers.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm glad you and I agree so much, and thanks for reading my books.
Yeah.
That's the greatest thrill for me today. Not a thrill, but recognition is when people, young men especially, come up and say, I read your book, changed my life. I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this.
I learned at the Academy, Kings Point in New York, acta non verba. Watch what a person does, not what they say. Whoa.